Hello everybody. Before we get started, I just want to say goodbye to Blue Sky Studios. Because of COVID, Blue Sky Studios will no longer be in service. There is, however, a series that is being developed called Adventures in Buck Wild. Speaking of, the plotline to what I'm going to review today is as follows. Scrat causes the whole world to melt, all by retrieving an acorn. And it's up to Manfred, a fully grown gloomy mammoth, Sydney, a super unique sloth who creates fire, and Diego, a smilodon who can't swim, to get the whole gang out safely before the flood reaches. So what do I think of what I'm gonna review? I'd say it almost matches Bambi and the Great Prince. Nice. So, let's get into the story. Pause, please.
And you're on.
So to begin, the kids, prehistoric kids, are playing in a wintry water park because winter's coming to an end, and I'll give you a clue. This takes place in the Sub-Zero Ice Age. That's right, I'm reviewing that movie. I first saw that movie when it came home from China, courtesy of my father. Anyway, some kids are romping around, sliding down water slides, and then suddenly one animal goes, "This is too hot, the ice age was too cold, what would it take to make you happy?" And then said animal falls off, and then her husband is all like, "This I like." Come on, man, that was your wife. Am I right, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the kids are playing at a summer camp called Campo del Cid, Spanish for Campa Sid, as he says. But when one kid's running, a beaver makes her own dam, spelled D-A-M, thus causing the beaver to... But someone runs and causes the beaver's dam to break, causing the poor darn beaver to cry. Kids do that when something they work real hard on gets messed up. That's another disclaimer. Sid blows his conch shell whistle and says, "No running, James. Camp rules." James is an anteater who says, "Make me, sloth." But then Sid says, "Make me, sir." And then someone named Aaron goes swimming and Sid says, Aaron, you just ate. Wait about an hour." I guess some people must have been like, how would sloths physically know how long to wait after eating before swimming? And of course, you know what Hector does, because everybody has to do it, even animals. But I'm gonna skip that part to where Sid says, "Oh, alright, that is cool. Ashley, stop it here!" And then he's hung up like a piñata. But right when kids are about to hit him, he says, "Wait! You're supposed to wear blindfolds." Not how you run a camp, Sid. But the beaver doesn't even try to cover both her eyes. Like this. Whack! And then some kids are fighting, like kids do in preschool and daycare, saying, "It's my turn! No, mine! And then the beaver just whacks Sid off. And then says, "Hey, you didn't have any candy in you." How would prehistoric kids know what candy is, am I right? But then another anteater says, "Let's bury him!" And that's what they do. They like stick his body in a hole. But then a grown mammoth says, hey, who said you kids could torture the sloth? And then Diego, a Smilodon, says, Manny, don't squash their creativity. Also, Manfred is what Manfred commonly goes by Manny. And then Sid says, hey Manfred, Diego, my naughty mammal jammels, want to give the sloth a wing? And then Manfred just puts his trunk around Sid's neck and pulls him up. And then Sid says, looky, I opened my camp. And I already told you what the name is, but I'll say it again in case you missed it. Campo del Sid, Spanish for Campa Sid. By the way, the first piece of music that plays in the movie is my, quote, Cactillion theme song. It goes like this. It starts like that anyway. And then Diego says, congratulations, Sid. You are now an idiot in 2 languages. And then Sid will be all like, shh. Not in front of the KIDZ. These little guys love me. Right, Billy? But then Billy just threatens to eat Sid. And the kids laugh. And then Sid's all like, that's why they're called kids. But then Manfred says, Sid, you're not qualified to run a camp. But then Sid says, since when do qualifications have anything to do with childcare? These kids look up to me. I'm the role model to them. But then some kids just knock him down. And Diego can plainly see that. Sid makes a complaint, and I quote, you guys never think I can do anything, but I am an equal member of this herd. I made this herd. What you need to do is begin treating me with some respect. Which, yeah, Bambi would feel you, Sid. Bambi would feel you. And then a kid suggests, let's play pin the tail in a mammoth. And then Sid goes complaining, saying, I can do stuff. They won't give me no stupid respect. Sorry, I was mimicking what Sid said in the movie. He then says, and I quote, I'll show them. Meanwhile, Manfred's telling a story that ends like this. And so, in the end, the little burro reached his mama, and they lived happily ever after. And then one kid says, well, actually, it's called the Wild A. And you know what that letter stands for. I have no idea why they secretly snuck that into that movie. And then Manfred says, fine, the Wild A boy came home to his Wild A mother. And the kids start laughing. Then Manfred says, you see, that's the reason I called it a burrow. And then he adds, they lived happily ever after. You can't get more satisfying than that. One big happy family. That's the way it's supposed to be. And then one kid says, so where's your big happy family? And then Manfred goes through a little bit of what the Great Prince goes through. But in their time it would be, quote, foreshadowing dear. Right, Mom?
Right.
Then Diego just says, then the hungry tiger ate the pesky little kids. and then he asks Manfred if he's holding up okay. And then Manfred says, story time's over. The end. And then some kids are going around spreading news saying that, and I quote, Fast Tony says the world's gonna flood! Hence the name Ice Age to the Meltdown. Or, as the Portuguese call it, A Idade do Gelo Dois. I speak Portuguese if anyone's wondering, or I'm teaching myself anyway. Fast Tony is suddenly grabbed by Manfred's trunk, who goes, how come you're scaring everybody with this doomsday stuff? And then Tony just laughs and says, I'm trying to make a living here, pal. Yeah. For those of you who are saying, Tony is basically Disney, please mind what you say about Disney. And I don't need to sound scary or anything, but when people say things that they may regret in the end, they end up digging their grave deep. I am not joking. Anyway, Tony says, the forecast calls for intense flooding, followed by the end of the world! With a slight patchy chance of sunshine later in the week. Tony was basically an idea 13 years before Gail Doppler even debuted in stormy weather on SpongeBob SquarePants, if anyone's wondering. Then, another animal goes, hey look! Somebody is falling off the eviscerator! And then Manfred's all like, oh, please tell me that's not already it. Manfred and Diego are basically Squidward and Mr. Krabs, if anyone's wondering. And then Sid's all like, I'm gonna jump on the count of 3! 1, 2... And then Manfred's all like, Sid, don't move a muscle. We're coming up. But then the others, including Diego himself, are chanting, jump, 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 jump. And then Sid's all like, 2 and 3 1,000s? 2 and 4 1,000s? And then Manfred's all like, Sid, what do you think you're doing? I want you down from there. And then Sid's all like, no way, I'm going to be the first to jump off the eviscerator? In a boasting tone. And then, and I quote, and then you guys are going to have to begin showing me some respect. Of course, Manfred says, you jump off, the only respect you'll get is the respect for the demise. Of course, he says dead in the film, but I choose the word demise. And then Diego's all like, he's not that stupid. But then he jumps. That's Diego saying, I've been wrong before, though. Manfred just grabs it off his truck. And he ends up landing on Sid. With Diego's claws cracking the ice. And then he jumps onto the mammoth. Saying, Diego, retract the claws, please. Because saber-tooths are the first cat ever in existence. Or were the first cat. By the way, this is the first Ice Age film from the franchise I ever saw. Sid then says, hey, if I didn't know you better, Diego, I think you were afraid of the water. Of course, his throat gets grabbed by Diego's claw. And Sid says, okay, lucky thing I know you better. But then Manfred says, everything is melting. Come on, we gotta warn them. And then Sid's all like, maybe we can rapidly evolve into water creatures. And then he tells Diego to call him Squid. In that time, it would be foreshadowing Squidward tentacles. And then Sid's all like, yeesh, this whole place is a piece of junk. I can hardly believe I live here. Making some icicles shake from under where he's walking. And then the ice just cracks and then they go down the prehistoric waterfall. And then Fast Tony's all like, bark is so buoyant, it actually floats! And then one character says, I'll show you something that floats. And then Fast Tony says, okay, it's your funeral. But then, as the mammoth comes in, Fast Tony says, giant balls of lava, the size of a mammoth, raining from the sky! And then Mammoth's all like, you gotta listen to him. He's right about the flood. We saw what's up there. The dam's gonna break. The entire valley's gonna flood. And then, of course, as a beaver pushes her young out of the way of a water slide, she says that word. You know, but it's a play on words, just with the wrong language. Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat what she says though, because kid show, right? And then a vulture says, there is some good news. The more you die, the better I eat. The animals, of course, gasp in shock, and then he says, I never said it was good news for you. But then Sid says, woo, he must have been a real pleasure to have in class. Some audiences are like, what class, Sid? Do you even know what school is? Right? Anyway, then they all start moving. And then Sid starts singing some songs like, someday, when you've gone extinct, when you make us sing. And then Manfred tells Sid to be quiet. Then, later that night, Sid says, stop, hey, what's that sound? All the mammals are in lockdown. And then Manfred's all like, no singing, Sid. And then Sid sings his first version of If You're Happy and You Know It, but it's If Your Species Won't Continue, like so. If your species won't continue, clap your hands. If your species... And Manfred's basically the Great Prince because he says, and I quote, Sid, I'm gonna fall on you again, and this time I shall massacre you. And then Sid's all like, alrighty, someone doesn't like the classics. I think Manfred should have just been glad that Bambi was not a part of that one. Don't you?
Maybe.
And then, of course, Manfred thinks he hears a mammoth. Kind of like how deer hear a deer call. An authentic deer call. And then Manfred's all like, what if I am the last mammoth? And then Sid's all like, but look at the bright side. You have us. And then Diego's all like, that's not your most persuasive argument, Sid. But then they hear the authentic mammoth call. Or so they think. And then Manfred's all like, I knew I couldn't be the last one. I felt it in my gut. And then Diego's just following after them. And it's basically the end of winter, as you can see the Ice Age forest. But then, as they were running, you can actually insert Grass Skirt Chase from Sage Guyton and Jeremy Wakefield here in the chase scene. I know I would do that. But then Sid feels wings being broken as they stop. And yes, that's a reference to Flower the skunk. And then I think that's a prehistoric bear who says, sorry, but my belly resents me. And then Sid's all like, oh, well, don't that put the stick in extinction? Ooh, sheesh. Ew, nasty. If you like my impression, please comment below. So yeah, basically it was just a false alarm. And then Manfred's all like, you guys go on ahead, I'll catch up. And then Sid's all like, one truly is the loneliest number. But then they feel something peck at them. And who could it be? The two troublesome possum brothers. The first ever prehistoric installment of Chip and Dale in possum form. If any of you say possums existed in the Ice Age, please comment below. But these are striped possums, named Crash and Eddie. You know what they should be called? What? Crash and Eddie's Rescue Mutant. Anyway, Diego chases them. But then Sid feels something poke his butt and says, I have to sit on that! And then another possum goes, smile! Spitting at them. And then they play a game called Whack-a-Possum. Like it. And then Sid and Diego end up getting tangled. And then they can't go apart. And then a possum goes, surrender? And then Sid and Diego go, never! And then the possums look at each other and say, cool! And then they go, smoke them! And then you get a cool moment of them slow-mo flying in midair. And then they spit on Sid and Diego, causing them to lose their balance and fall. And Diego says, if anybody asks us, there were 50 of them. And they were rattlesnakes. Does he even know what rattlesnakes are where he is? And then some possums go, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. And then Sid's all like, Diego, they're possums. Because Diego calls them miscreants. And some possums are clucking like this.
Silly.
And Diego just roars and chases them. You can even hear his vocal effects. Like, writers, that's impressive. Pause, please. That's about it for part 1 of this review. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Anyway, on to part 2 of our movie review. Goodbye.